Peace, greetings. We are live this evening. We are, it's Sovereign Sunday, of course. And if you are joining us, I decided to stop talking and, just food prep one or two things. If you can see me clearly and see my assortment clearly, let me know. If you can hear me clearly as well, I would appreciate it if you just let me know. Um, This greetings, Sister Kashia. Greetings, Sister Manira. Thank you for joining. Thank you. I'm excited too. Let's see what happens. Once my sound is clear, and the lighting is clear, if you could see everything, let me know. I decided, you know what? There's a lot of talking going on, but maybe we need to just do. Therefore, I decided to share just a little peek into what it is like to food prep something that is high raw or considered a high raw meal. We are going to, the focus is really seaweed. And so I'll say just a little bit about seaweed. We've spoken about sea vegetables and their ability to support the reducing of estrogen for women. So consuming organic nori and organic forms of sea vegetables are best, right? So and that's one of the important things to think about. Um, but apart from that, we have an assortment and an array of different items that we can add to our nori. Now, one of the things you probably thought was we'll be using rice to make our nori rolls. Well, this nori roll, even though we're cooking, we're using something that's cooked. That's only one of the many items, right? We're using quinoa instead. So for those of you who um, you're familiar with quinoa, we slow cook these and made sure that they were soaked prior to. It's always good to give your grain and so a good soak and washing. Now, and I also said, you know, they don't digest very well for me, but sometimes they're a good alternative for others. So I decided, why not? Because we're not going to use rice. And I know many of you are probably saying, nori rolls with no rice? Yes, it's possible. So we're going to use some quinoa. We're also going to use some shredded cabbages. Now, I like to shred my cabbages myself, but these are pre-shredded. Um, you probably see that we have an assortment of green and orange peppers. I sliced up some mangoes because I really enjoy a balance of sweet. So maybe you want a balance of sweet as well. And you'll probably notice a spread. We have some spread. So this is a cashew based spread, and I just have some nori dulse and so on top of it. I used cashews because they were soaking already, and I didn't have anything else soaking. So I just decided, well, it's going to be cashews today, but it isn't always my go to spread. There are others that I really enjoy, and we'll talk about those in another demo. But what else I see? We made some falafel, so to speak, falafel balls using almond flour and chickpeas and a bit of coconut flour. So these are baked. They're not fried at all, but there's just a difference in combination. And to bind it, we used what did I use? Psyllium husk, right, which increases your fiber count if you are low on fiber count. So that's what we have. I'll show you how to put the nori sheet together. But let me just greet all the other sisters that I see in the space. Greetings, Sister Quia. Who else is here? Sister Deidre, Naya. Sister Kashia says, I like quinoa in moderation. Yes, very much so. Very in moderation, small amounts. And this is a good substitute for actual rice. But I will say cauliflower will be an excellent substitute. much less carbs, not as starchy, not very heavy, much lighter, and you could eat more nori rolls if you use cauliflower. Celery roots. I wish I had some celery roots. It's so ugly, but it's so good. Celery roots is a great substitute as well. Of course, you'll have to pulverize it, put it in the food processor so that it comes out like a meal, so that it's easy to chew on because it's just one big old root like a beet is, but it's much bigger, um, but very flavorful. So that would be a substitute for you if you're trying to reduce the amount of grain that you consume. Sister Kuya says, nice. I use spring rolls as well and made a nice sauce with cashews. This is great to see new ways to use things. Yes, very, very, it's easy to be creative once you're in the kitchen and you're moving around and, you're trying new things. A substitute nut butter could be almond. You could also substitute any other spread. Maybe you want to purchase a spread or so. Like that's really up to you. I tend to go lean toward homemade items. So let's start. I'm gonna wear gloves just because I don't really like to food prep with gloves, but I will because sometimes the nori sheets can get sticky. Now, nori is high in fiber. And there are a couple other things. Nori contains carotenoids. Nori, as many sea vegetables do, they contain phytonutrients, and they also contain immune boosting enzymes, right? So, um, let me know which kinds of nori do you prefer. I kind of prefer the raw sheets. So you probably, if you could see it, I kind of holding things up almost, but I'm looking at the screen. It's helpful too, so I could see what you're looking at. So I'm using a raw sheet. Now you'll notice that the raw sheets kind of, once they get moist, they tend to get very stretchy very quickly. So that's why I padded my wooden board, chopping board, with a little bit of tissue paper, and I put parchment on top of it. So that way it doesn't get too sticky. The wood tends to hold the moisture and it transfers to the nori. So that, this is helpful for me. So I'm going to start. I like to start with placing the spread on the sheet. And if you can't see anything, let me know. This is a lot. It's very generous, but we're going to make a big thick one. We're going to make a big, thick one. Not for us first. This is the man's one. This is his. We're going to make one for the man first. Yes, indeed. Nice and chunky and thick and big. Okay. So what do you all want me to put in it? Do you want me to put everything? A little bit of mangoes? What do you prefer? Akuya. Sister Manira, what do you like? I know you like mangoes. Do you want mangoes in there? Maybe we'll put a little bit of mangoes. So once you put your spread on, whatever your grain is, you want the grain to stick. You don't want it to fall out once you're eating it. So you want to make sure that you put the grain on top of the spread and you spread the grain so that it sticks onto the spread. And you're probably saying, well, where's the little nori roller? I don't use a roller. I don't use the bamboo sheets and so on. I just don't. All right, so that's a lot. Let me see. Naya says everything. Deidre says everything. Deidre, yeah, we know why you're saying everything. Sister Manira says everything. All right, all right. So I'll start with a couple slices of mango. The sweet is always a very good balance. And I'll break up some of the falafel, and pressing it in is helpful, so that way once you cut them, because I like to cut them, I don't necessarily leave them whole. I like finger food. I like little fancy finger food. I don't know about anybody else, but finger food is fancy and nice. um I'm layering it this way because once you roll it, you can see the colors distinctively, and I like when you're able to see, when I'm able to see that in between, especially in between the black of the nori. And I'll put just a little bit of cabbage because yeah, yeah, not a lot of cabbage. So I'm turning and I'm moving really slow, but you'll probably move much faster. If you can see, let me know if I have to move it over. So I pretty much just took one attempt at folding it over. Make sure you tuck it in a lot, and then I like to tuck as I go along and press. That makes it easy. Before I start cutting, I like to press on the sides just to make sure that everything stays in place. Stay inside. Sister Clea says, all of it, dump it all at once. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Yep. So there we go. I can cut it now, but I also don't mind leaving it to let it sit just for a little while. Um, when it sits, it makes it a little bit easier to cut if you do not have a serrated knife. I don't have a serrated knife. I just have a plain blade. So I'm going to use that. But I like to let it sit a little. And when you cut lightly. If you start cutting really crazy, what you'll find is you start tearing everything apart. So just be gentle with it, and you'll find that they come out really firm, and they cut very easily. You could see the difference in the colors. You could see I didn't put a lot of the mango, but you could definitely see some of the mango. And the cheese that I use, you're probably saying, why is it so yellow? It's a turmeric garlic spread that I utilize. So there you go. I want to make another one. The other one that I make, I'll include a little bit of peanut butter because sometimes you want a different taste. So I kind of like to make a wide variety. So sometimes I'll make some with just mango and add the spread and the cabbages, or I'll put everything, or instead of using the spread, I'll use the let's say peanut butter or some sort of nut butter. It's not something that I use all the time because I didn't have any tahini today, but normally I'll find myself using tahini. All right, let's see what's happening in the chat. Okay, it says dump it all in. I did. Yes, I love finger food. Two taps, little tapas, little plates. I love it all. Yes. Do you see those little miniature burgers that they make and hors d'oeuvres? I love hors d'oeuvres. I love anything on a little stick that you can. I don't know why. They're just very fancy. Or somebody taught us it was fancy, and we decided, okay, well, you know. If that's fancy, well, like we'll call it fancy too. But somebody taught us that. Sister Deidre says, yes, do you need a taster? Of course I need a taster. This is your dinner. Stop it now. Kashia says, Deidre. Naya says, this is so simple. Thank you for sharing. Of course, it is very simple. And like again, I'm going to continue to do more demos because it is that simple. And once you get yourself going in the kitchen and you start putting things together, you'll realize how quickly you can put these together. It doesn't require you to sit for very long or stand for very long in the kitchen waiting. I got 6 slices out of this. You can eat them whole, but I like to cut them up because it makes it easier to consume the nori. I'll make another one just so you can see the technique again. I know there are different mats, bamboo mats and so that you can utilize. I actually saw one time I actually made a square one. It was huge. And it was square because you kind of put it into a mold and then let it sit it gets square and then you cut it, but it was huge. It was probably about this wide. But it was fun to eat. It was falling all over the place, of course, but it was good. It was good. It was good. Oh, Manira says this is perfect. Seaweed is actually one of my favorite snacks, but this is a whole meal. Yes, it is. I love those little snacks too. You know, when we start talking about using the dehydrator and creating other snacks, um, I'll share with you. These are so easy. You could cut them in six and put some spread on top of it and just let it sit. If you have a gas oven, you could let it sit in the gas oven on really low, and it will make the perfect snack because the paste, the pate, or the nut meat that you create and you add to it, it will dry out. And, you know, there you have it. Voila, you have snacks. But I'll make another one. Don't forget that seaweed also helps to boost the immune system, right? And one of the things that I shared before was it was for me learning about how seaweed affects and helps to reduce breast cancer in women of a certain age. And this is not a claim. This is, like this is based off of how seaweed can support you. It actually works with triggering certain enzymes that help to block some hormones in the body. So because of that, this particular seaweed is a good option. All right. Just make sure you get the organic one. And if it's from Korea, I guess it's good. Talk to me in the DM about that. I don't know. So I'm gonna spread. I'm gonna take a little bit of spread off of this, and I'm going to let me see how I can cover this. I'm going to add a little bit of peanut butter just for the fun of it. I don't think you could see labels here. I don't even know if you could see it dripping, but I don't want labels in here. All right, so that's a lot. Next time, don't put that much. Don't do like I did. All right, but it depends on who. Maybe you have youth in the house and they prefer this versus the cheese. So what you'll do is balance it out by putting a lot more veggies, just so it balances out. The cabbage, I like to spread it on top of the spread so that way it sticks. All right, it doesn't start falling off once you cut into the nori, so that's helpful. Any questions? Are there any questions? I mean, I don't have a lot of greens here today. I kind of missed out on shopping for greens. Normally, I like to include dandelion or dandelion pesto in here. I like to put a lot of greens, chopped up cilantro, chopped up parsley, but we don't have any of that today. But normally we would. Sliced cucumbers are always a delicious option. And if you're not a cucumber person, zucchini is another option as well. I can make my own wasabi seaweed snacks. Yes, you can. You most certainly can. And when we start talking about how to use the dehydrator, it'll make it so much easier because then you'll have your own machine and you don't need to buy anyone's pre-made products at all. You won't need to. I mean, you can. I'm not telling you can't. So I made this one a little bit smaller, but I like to, again, tuck the sides. I'll cut off any excess and they'll go in the next one, of course. Or I'll tuck them in on the side here. I don't know if you could see me tucking it, whatever's left. And then I'll take just a little bit of and seal off the ends so that way it doesn't start falling out. You can seal off the ends with whatever pate you have. I hope this is helpful to you all. This is pretty easy. Once you're done, you can throw away the paper. We moved a little bit faster, so this one did not get too moist. Notice how dry it is, and you could actually see the difference, right? There's much less, there isn't quinoa, it's just veggies. And I did not include any of the falafel. So you see, it's a little bit thinner on the inside. There's less, but it's refreshing, um, and it doesn't have grain. So yeah, that's it. Now, one other thing, I know most people really love to have a dip. I really enjoy having a dip as well. So I'm going to show you how to quickly make a peanut dip, which is, either that or a soy sauce dip is the typical accompaniment for any type of nori roll. So I'll show you how to do that right now. Um, Look at how easy this is. It's super easy. Look, all I have to do is fold this, and I'm good to go. But you don't have to. This is just for demonstration purposes. All right, now for the dressing. All right, am I moving too fast for you all? Let me know, please. For those of you who did not catch it, here is a quick list of the ingredients. We use nori sheets. We included veggies. These are called julienne veggies. So we julienne the veggies, just make a strip. I don't know, it's a fancy term, but you're just cutting them in strips. And I like to cut around the body of the veggies and then cut the tops off. But I never use the tops for when I julienne like this. I put the tops to the side, and I always use them to make a pesto or in a cheese sauce or some kind of sauce. So you're probably wondering what's in here. So first of all, I like to reduce my carbon footprint. So one of the things I like to do is reuse all of my kombucha bottles. So this is an old kombucha bottle, washed clean. And in here, I have some coconut aminos. I have I put a little bit of vinegar in here and some green seasoning. And we'll talk about how to make those, and I'll actually show you how to make your own green seasonings and bottle them up and leave them in the fridge so that way you reduce how much time you have to process seasonings all the time. You won't need to use dried or powdered seasonings too much because I've shown you how to make those from scratch. So I added it all in a bottle, and then all I'm going to do now, you don't have to use peanuts. You can use, I'm using peanut because that's what I have right now, but you can use almond butter, which is a preference for me. And if you're trying to reduce allergies, that's a preference. So if you have youth, you may prefer to use let me turn the label. You may prefer to use almond butter. And you can make your own. You can literally roast your own almonds or roast your own peanuts and blend them and make your own cream. You just have to have a really powerful blender, and we'll talk about the best blenders. So all I'm doing is pouring, literally pouring. I know it doesn't look good, but I was just like, this is how easy it is. This is it. That's it. All I did was pour a bunch of nut butter into a bottle with seasonings and some vinegar. And that's it. By the time you're finished, it'll be pretty easy. I'm going to transfer the sauce into the bowl and kind of show you what that looks like. Give me 1 second so I could actually show you on the plate. I'm not plating very nicely today. I'm just trying to get it in. But today is not one of the fancy plating days. And your meal is prepared. That's so simple. You may eat all of it. You may share it with someone, loved one, or not. I don't know. But I really hope you enjoyed our demo today. Please like, share, and subscribe. I really want to continue sharing these. I love it. I like doing it. Not because it's fun. The reason for doing this is so that I can share what I have learned and come across in my years of food prepping with others. It is that easy, it's that simple. And you don't have to sit in the kitchen and slave over a hot pot at all. Not necessary. Let me jump back into the chat a little bit. Um, Naya says this is very helpful. Thank you so much. You are welcome. Sister Kashia actually says reciprocity is key indeed. Give me some, I give you some. You get something, I get something. We go back and forth. It's like spread, spread it. Keep spreading it. Kashia says definitely don't mind being a taster. Yes, ma'am. If I could send it and ship it, I would. Um, it seems like sharp knives are a must for prep. Yes, having sharp knives are really good. If you have a serrated knife, a knife with a serrated edge, it will work perfectly. All right, just really fine, not the very thick, um, jagged edges. The very fine serrated edged knives really work well because they kind of cut in. And I actually prefer to use those for the toasted sesame. Again, remember these are raw. These are not the toasted ones. The toasted ones have a tint, slightly green tint to them, right? And I think they have a fishier smell. So if you're really going for a fishy substitute, then that's definitely an option for you. It's definitely something that you probably want to consider. Um, let me see. No, you're pacing just fine. Oh, okay, I thought I was moving a little too slow. Deidre says, Naya says, I'm ready for the dip. Oh, okay. So it isn't hot. Please add any chili pepper. Add, I did put some hot sauce in there, but no, this hot sauce does not have a bunch of additives and preservatives and all of that. It's just pure plain peppers, heat. It's good. Um, but you can add chili powders and so on to it if if you like. Sometimes I think that I prefer to use moist seasonings because dried seasoning sometimes you can taste the powder, and I'm not a fan of powdered seasonings. You know we have seasoning peppers, and another demo I'll show you those really potent seasoning peppers. They are full of flavor, and sometimes all you need is two and whatever you're preparing, and it brings the level and the flavors up to another level. So Deidre says this is such a good demo, eco-friendly too. Yes, definitely. So I had another bottle here to show you because I love vials. I love bottles. Maybe I'm a bottle human being in myself, but I love bottles. So I love to reduce the carbon footprint by reusing and reducing waste. Reuse all of your bottles. This is an old seasoning bottle, not old, it's washed, it's clean. It has this fancy top. I can literally take the rest of my falafel balls and store it in here because the mouth of the jar is wide enough. I can place anything in here. I can put the rest of my dip in this as well. And maybe you want to give some of your items or some of the things that you make, you want to give it away. I like to place things in glass jars. Much healthier too. Much healthier. Naya says, yes, Deidre, I feel bad about the amount of kombucha bottles I've tossed away. Don't feel bad. And we have a bunch. We're not using all of them. We are going to find a bottle, one of those bottle machines where you can dispose of them, but they don't go to the landfill. They are actually reused, right? They're recycled, and I think you get 10 cents or something back for it. Well, so we have a bunch that we need to use, but the thing is, because we're always making shakes and smoothies and packing them and shipping them off, just the friends and family, people who are traveling and they need something, or I'm always gifting somebody something to eat. I don't know. So once those bottles are, we give them away, we just replenish, right? We have a bunch. Kashia says, I have these ingredients. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to all of those, what do you call it, chopped and screwed nori rolls that are an alternative or a new addition. And when you do so, please hashtag the sovereign eats when you make it, and just share, come back under the video and share, express how much you liked it. If you did enjoy it, how did you make adjustments to it so that way it could benefit um, the nutritional needs of your family, right? Your homestead. Um, Sister Kashia says looks great. Maria says loved it. I think it's pretty plating. Yeah, we I'm gonna show you some pretty plating. We have a lot of work to do with pretty plating. We I got you. Don't worry. So thank you all for joining us this evening. I'm glad we didn't have too much talking and it was just all about food prepping. Are there any questions before I close off and I leave you all to enjoy the rest of your Yom Rishon? I would love for you all to ask questions if you have any. If you have any. And don't forget, increasing the amount of sea vegetables that you consume actually helps to with lessening the effects of things like depression. It's a support. It actually helps to aid with combating seasonal allergies. So this is, I mean, spring is ending, but it is definitely an opportunity for you to lean on the nutrients and the phytonutrients and the carotenoids that seaweed offers, right? While it boosts your immune system as well. So yeah, don't hate on sea vegetables. Love them. All right, ladies. Peace. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Peace and power to you all.